It's time to jump into the Wayback Machine and go back to the 80s. I am your host, Golden J, and with me, as always, Frankie Vegas.
Hey, what's up?
And we're here to take you back to one of the greatest decades ever. So let's begin.
Let's do it.
Here we go.
Okay.
Rock and roll all night. Party every day.
I love it loud. No, we're not doing a kiss.
We're not doing Kiss. Not happening. I don't know why I said that. It just happened to pop out of my fucking head. Frankie's filling me with new ideas of shit that we need to get done and do and have fun. And we're going to bring you some new exciting shit.
Hopefully.
Maybe. We'll see.
We will see.
Frankie, what's been going on?
Not a lot. You know, my hearing's kind of messed up right now, but again.
No.
But, you know, it'll clear up, hopefully. And then I can try to hear again and have conversations without going, what?
What did you say? Yeah, it is. I feel like I'm talking very loud when we don't have headphones on when I'm talking to Frankie because I'm like making sure he hears what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's what it is.
It is. It's old age. And when you're born in the 70s and raised in the 80s, like we are, this is what you get in the 2020s?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, you know, it's like I was telling you, I've always had hearing issues and ear problems. I've had so many ear surgeries, can't even count them all.
Right.
You know, obviously you can't see, but I got all sorts of scars behind my ear and just crazy.
They just go in and try to repair the eardrum? Is that what they were trying to do?
Yeah, eardrum, removing polyps. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah. Just what it is. And
right.
I just try to deal with it. I'm just glad I can still hear somewhat, you know.
Yeah, and it gets better when I have a microphone and earphones on.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah, that helps.
Jim, what is that? The Fifth Element. Did you ever see The Fifth Element with Bruce Willis?
Yeah, years and years and years ago. I don't remember much about it.
They get on that ship, and he's going to see that opera singer or whatever, and there's that musician there, the one that's all dressed in white and has the white hair, and he's like, yeah, he's a great musician, but he's just deaf as all get out, and they walk over to him, and he's like, what are you saying? I'm going to have to figure out his name because Frankie Vegas is getting a name change. We're going to start calling him that guy's name.
There we go.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of when you said that. It was like, oh, yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, man, it has been extremely crazy around this joint for the last few weeks. I know that an episode or two ago we talked about Tusop working on narration for an Audible book by Tom Lyons, which you can go to tomlyonsbooks.com, or you can get it on Audible because it has been released. Book number 1 is out.
Well, you know what remember the title?
Yeah, it's called It Bit Me, Chilling True Stories. It bit me. Man, what a learning curve to learn how to do this because it truly has been on my radar for over the last year to try to work this out and see. And this opportunity presented itself, and we took it. And it's been a learning curve to get it to where it needs to be at Audible standards. And I'm going to tell you right now, I submitted it and was approved by the author like immediately, like within an hour. He loved it.
Yeah.
And it took 14 business days. And when I talk in business days, that's Monday through Friday. That's not the weekends. That's not holidays. That's not nothing. It took 14 business days for Audible to approve it. And I was starting to get a little concerned there towards the end. I'm like, something must be wrong with it. I'm going to get an email that says you got to fix this and this, and which I'd have happily done.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have done whatever it needed to be to get to their standards. But that email came across, and it's so funny, Frankie, because I was actually in studio recording J-Dub's portion of book number 2, and when I got the email. And I'm just immediately, I read it and I just was like, I covered my mouth and I was just like, oh my God. And she's like, what is wrong? What is wrong? And I got a little teary eyed. I'm not going to lie. I got a little emotional because, we did it. It took a lot of effort and a lot of coordination and a lot of, the girls being out here doing on off nights when we're not recording TUSOP to be in the studio to record. But we did it, Frankie. We got there.
There you go.
Yeah. Should be exciting.
Yeah. And you got to think, you said 14 business days, but I'm sure you weren't the only book that they had to deal with.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. And, that's why it took so long.
I think that was a pretty quick turnaround, to do the recording, author approved, and then, you said it took 14 days for Audible to...
Well,
okay.
I mean, if you went from start to finish, from the moment we got the offer to the moment we had, we got the offer, and then we had a week to get. You have a 15-minute checkpoint. Okay. So the first 15 minutes of the book, you send to the author, and then he approves it at that point. He listens to it and is like, okay, yeah, this is working. This works. And that's the first week.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 weeks to finish the rest. At least in this situation, we had 2 weeks, which is, in all honesty, is plenty of time for the 10,000 words that this book is. And so then, the 2 weeks are up. I actually got it in a little early. I submitted it a couple of days early. But then to wait another 2 weeks. So this is really from start to finish almost 6 weeks.
Yeah.
If you count up,
Yeah, and then it's been released, so
and it's done. It's out there. Yeah. It's out there, so you guys can go check it out. Go to Audible if you have an Audible account. Great. You're going to get it for a little bit cheaper price. If you don't, you can still buy it. If you don't have an Audible account, you can still buy it for a couple bucks more. It's not a super expensive book. Like I said, it's about an hour long. It's about 10,000 words, I think, is what it is, and. You're doing nothing but supporting Golden Mojo Entertainment, TUSOP, all of that, and Tom Lyons. Yeah, because he had to put all this together. Go buy it. But write a review. Do a review and let us know what you think. Because reviews help drive that thing up in the Audible charts. So the more reviews, the more downloads and all that stuff, the better for us. So go check it out.
Now, we want you to get Audible, but can you get it, in book form?
There is an actual book form. I think it was released in 2024.
Okay.
Because, once again, more learning curve is that there's a rating on Goodreads. You can sign up for Goodreads and find the book and do reviews there, too. And I did find that it showed that there was a hard copy on there. Okay. So I never talked to Tom about the hard copy. It wasn't really in my thought process to do that. But according to that, I do believe that it was released in 2024, the hard copy of it. So, but you guys want the audio. You want the audio version. Go. You can hear old Golden J. You can hear J-Dub. You can hear the Rocker Chick. And Lance just sent me a text. He's like, Rocker. You know what? Fuck you, Lance. You didn't say shit about mine. He didn't say shit about my reading. I get Rocker Chick's story was good, but J-Dub's was the scariest. Where's my love, Wonder Bread?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Wow. Goddamn. Oh, well.
What a dick. Yeah, well.
Man.
Bless his little heart.
Yeah, his little cold, weary heart. Won't do a crossover with us. That son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to reach out to real terror.
Yeah, well.
Blow him shit, Frankie. That was your chance.
Hey, like I said, you are the boss. You just tell him he's doing what he's told to do, and he's going to like it.
I could, but I think that would be a little, I don't know what the word is to say. Maybe that'd be a little over much, maybe. I don't know, but
I don't know.
I suppose I could, but we'll see. We'll see
what
what happens.
We'll figure it out.
We always figure it out, boys and girls. Always. Because that's what we do. What else is going on? Yeah, we submitted what we want to do in Kansas City this year. Hopefully, I don't know, this whole press box thing. So we're waiting to hear back and get approval from the NFL and from Kansas City about getting into the press box for, I think we picked 3 games, so we'll see how that works out. Yeah. That's something else that's been going on in the last week or so, trying to get all that worked out as we break into. I've got weddings. I did a wedding last weekend, got another wedding this weekend, and then I get a nice break until September from doing weddings, so that'll be good for me. I can spend more time getting everything else in order. Because, I just don't do books and podcasts and DJing and stuff like that. Somebody has what they call a honey-do list that needs to be done around here. Yeah. And, of course, all the mom stuff is still on the radar, trying to get it all worked out.
Yeah. But you always seem to figure it out and get it done. Crazy,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you explain?
Still waiting for MurdNerds to come out.
So I think I said that in one of the episodes. It's like, Frankie's up my ass, but not in a good, fun way.
Not in a good way.
So I actually was recording some ads and conclusions for the second book last night. And, of course, the wedding I have next weekend, I always do what I call the reception intro. So, like, when the wedding party comes in after the wedding, they go take pictures, and then they enter the reception. I always do a big thing. And I don't know if Josh ever told you about the one we did for Hannah. And
Yeah, he said
It's been... Fuck, that's been over 3 years ago.
Yeah. It's been a minute.
I just watched the...
3 years, 2 kids later.
Yeah, crazy. I just watched the video for it last night because it was on my Dropbox, and I'm like, which one is this? I think it was the Moore wedding. With that one, it was real extravagant. I built this whole... I think there was 6 or 7 different bridal parties. Mm-hmm. Including the parents, and they all walked into different songs, and I built this whole fucking thing. The one I did last weekend was one song, in just some basic names, and it worked out really good. It looked really good. And then I've got the one next weekend to do the same thing. I sent it off to them, but so I come out to do the fixes that I needed to do for my story because, listen, there ain't nobody out here policing my ass while I'm fucking recording these audio books. So as I'm going back over it, I'm going, well, yeah, you fucked that up. Oh, yeah, that sounds terrible. Oh, what is that in the background? Is that a fucking Harley? Those cocksuckers. So I come out to do fixes and finish up the ads in conclusion. As I brought out the wedding stuff I needed to record, and I brought out the outro for the MurdNerds, the Black Dahlia stuff that I needed to record. So all that stuff's recorded. Cool. Put it together, start editing that, and get the new MurdNerds out. Because Frankie won't leave me the fucking alone. It'll be fun. It is such a good story, and I'll let you guys know when it's gonna be released. But because I still have a lot of editing to do there too. So much editing, Frankie.
Well, yeah.
I just need to do this full time.
You do?
Yeah. Think of all the great shit I'd have.
Yeah.
If only I could make money.
Yeah. And start a GoFundMe for Golden Mojo.
Yeah, could.
Because obviously we can't pay the light bill.
Obviously. Yeah, the light above Frankie burnt out while we were sitting here. Go figure that one. And it's an LED light. I didn't think LEDs burn out.
Yeah.
Apparently they do, because we just watched that one burn out. Stupid.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to fucking go panhandle on the side of the road just to get a new light. Or you guys could go to goldenmojoent.com, buy yourself a t-shirt, a coffee mug, a fucking hoodie. There's a lot of great stuff on there. Go support the golden 80s and Golden Mojo Entertainment.
Absolutely.
And you know what else you can do, Frankie? You can support Perfectly Picked Games.
Absolutely.
Collectors, thrifters, and savvy shoppers, listen up. Perfectly Picked Games brings you the best board game and toy deals live every week. Join our Whatnot shows on Tuesdays and Fridays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern for limited time auctions you won't find anywhere else. First timer? Use Golden Mojo to take 10% off your first purchase. Fast deals, fun finds, and big savings on Whatnot.
And that was Perfectly Picked Games.
Yes, it was.
All right, Frankie.
Yeah.
Are you ready to get into today's topic?
Oh, about as ready as I'm ever going to be.
Oh, that's good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I turn the microphone over to Mr. Frankie Vegas, he's going to take you on a journey. A journey about an American businessman and former professional wrestling promoter. Along with his estranged wife, Linda.
Yeah.
Today, ladies and gentlemen, Frankie is going to talk about Vincent McMahon.
Yeah.
Or Vince McMahon, whichever you prefer. I was like
Mr.
looking, it's
McMahon.
like this. I know he doesn't go by Vincent, but this is what my notes say. Vincent McMahon. Vinny McMahon.
Vinny Mac.
Vinny Mac. There you go.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we come up with this idea, and as I got, getting into it, I was like, the 80s were good for Vince, and he did, some great stuff, with professional wrestling, but really the good stuff that, that put him in, kind of the controversial light didn't happen until he got into the 90s and 2000, But yeah, we'll go through the 80s and kind of say what he did. And
sounds good.
But yeah, old Vinny, he was born August 24th, 1945, but in Pennhurst, North Carolina. He's an 80-year-old man now.
For an 80-year-old man, he still looks fucking pretty buff.
Yeah. I mean, he's crazy.
He's definitely taking care of. He's definitely taking care of his body in those years. So
you'll have to please be patient with me. I left my notebook here the last time we recorded, and I went to write down my notes and last night, and I didn't have it. So I'm doing my Wikipedia bullshit, I guess. But yeah, I said, he was born in 1945 to his mom, Victoria, and Vincent James McMahon. But before he left, his dad left. So he never really met his dad until he was 12 years old. And so he grew up with, this is where I would like to have my notes so I could just look down instead of have to scroll. His stepdad was Leo Lupton, so that's what Vince went by, was Vince Lupton.
Okay.
At the time. And you listen to Vince now, but here's the thing with Vince. You try to watch his documentaries on him and stuff that he was involved with, and he never really answered questions outright gives you an answer.
Right.
You know?
Well, he's that guy that likes to spend a lot of time, smoke screening the mystery.
Yeah.
You know, and rightfully so, because how do I put this? Professional wrestling, for the most part, has a storyline. So it has a beginning and an ending.
Yes.
And these beginning and endings are known to those in the business and those that are involved in the storyline. So you got to be really, really careful about what you say so that you don't give up something. Because especially nowadays, the nitpicking shit that's on the internet, you know, they're like, well, Vince's eyes turned to the left when they ask him about this question, which could only mean, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have to be really, really careful about that. So that's probably why he is such an evasive interview.
Yeah. But yeah, he grew up under the name Vinnie Lupton. Vinny.
I was almost a Vinny.
And, you know, he talked about, you know, being physically abused and sexually abused as a child by a male. Now, the problem with this that I hear a lot of people bring up is Vince didn't talk about any of this stuff until anybody who could collaborate it was dead.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he never, you know, so all the stuff he says about his childhood, there's nobody around that can say, yeah, that's what happened.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So do you think that's a smokescreen, or do you think
I think he makes I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say it's not true because they're serious allegations,
right?
And you don't want to take that away. But, you know, why wait until there's nobody left around that can verify these stories that you tell,
right,
about your childhood? But yeah, so.
Well, I mean, it could be a respect thing too. I mean, it could be,
Yeah, it could be, but I don't think so.
I mean, he doesn't want whomever that, you know, might come out be them, you know, getting harassed or eggs thrown at their house or their fucking garage set on fire or something like that. Because, I mean, I'm just speculating here. I'm thinking out loud.
Yeah, about that, McMahon reflected in a 2000 interview that when he reflected on it, he said, "It's unfortunate that Lupton died before I could kill him. I would have enjoyed that."
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that kind of puts it out there. I guess there's really no mystery on who the unknown person was. Now.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, and he claimed that he majored in badass, you know.
He must have taken the same courses that I took.
And then, claimed that he run moonshine in Harlow, North Carolina. And he got in trouble and was faced with the choice of reform school or the Fishburne Military School in Waynesboro, Virginia. And, you know, it sounds like I'm reading because I am. And I'm sorry because I didn't put my notes down because I'm a failure.
There was no other paper in your house?
I could not find another notebook.
You don't need a notebook. You just need a sheet of paper.
I know. I'm picky.
Oh.
But, yeah. I'm sorry.
I'm picking on you, Preggy. It's all good.
But, you know, as he was 12, when he turned 12, he finally got to meet his biological father, Vincent J. McMahon, you know, and he became interested in wanting to pursue, you know, following in his footsteps as a professional wrestler, or professional wrestling, in the business of professional wrestling.
The promoter.
Yeah, as a promoter. He wanted to be a wrestler, but old school was, you know, Dad's like, no. He goes, promoters, you keep separate from your wrestlers.
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah, let me tell you how that doesn't work out very well. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of animosity between wrestling and promoting, and if you're the promoter who's in the locker room, that's not necessarily a good thing. So you really do need to keep them separate. That way, not only do you not set yourself up to be the superstar because you're the promoter, it doesn't make you look biased, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. So, but, also at the same time, you can focus more on the business and not worry about, getting the show over. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense to keep them separate.
But a lot of promoters, especially in the smaller areas, a lot of the promoters do kind of book themselves on top, and
Yeah, we know how that goes in the local market.
But you do you.
You do you.
If it works, If it works, it works.
Well, old Golden J, not only is he the promoter, but he's also the voice behind several podcasts. So
Hey,
I can't really talk about that, but
that's okay. But yeah, he 1968 he graduated from East Carolina University with a business degree. He had a career as a traveling salesman for a while, but I guess it wasn't all that great. So
the golden age of the knock on the door travel salesman. Yeah.
I got a vacuum that you're gonna love.
Hello, ma'am of the lady of the house. Would you like to buy a Singer sewing machine? I can't even remember what all the shit. The vacuums were always the big one when I was young.
There's no way I could just go knocking on somebody's door.
It takes some fucking balls, man. I'll tell you what. And then to come in, the biggest thing for those vacuum salesmen was they come in and they would tell you how fucking dirty your house is, and it's like, yeah, of course there's a trick to it. You know that, right?
Yeah.
You put that little filter on top that fucking shows you how dirty it is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's going to show you fucking dirt regardless of how well your vacuum cleaner is. But, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I've had friends that tried to do the whole vacuum sale thing. That was kind of a big thing there for a while. People doing that didn't want to get real jobs.
Well, to be fair, it really is a real job. I don't think that it's not a real job.
Well,
because you have to set up appointments and you have to show up and you have to do your demonstrations and you have to be well on your game to be able to sell one of those. Bobby did it. Bobby did it for like a hot second and hated it. Hated every minute of it. But it was a lot of prep work to actually even get in the door. And, once again, you got to have a good personality.
Yeah.
You got to have a bunch of shit in your favor to be able to do it. I sat through them. I sat through ones that my friends did. I sat through ones that she did, and I would have never bought a fucking vacuum ever because they were just too damn expensive, period.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'd always have, friends that were getting into it, and they'd be like, yeah, I'll come over. Let me do a demonstration because I got to do so many demonstrations.
Right.
And I'll shampoo your carpet. I'm like, well, yeah, come on over. I ain't buying shit, but you can shampoo my carpet.
Yeah, as long as you know right ahead of time. Hey, quick question, though. Did you know why he got reacquainted with his biological father? Was that a thing? I mean,
I think I'm trying to remember exactly because it doesn't say here in my notes. I think because he was he was kind of a troublemaker as a kid, so I think his mom finally just got a hold of dad and said, "Hey, look,
you got to do something.
Help me out here."
Right on.
And I think that's what started it all.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think it was 1969. He wanted to go back and work with his dad, and he made his debut as a ring announcer. The guy that called out, coming from, blah, 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 Wayne, blah, blah, blah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Which, probably should have been Golden J calling, being a wrestling announcer.
I actually was supposed to be an announcer for a roller derby.
Oh,
back when we were doing Golden Image Radio, I was approached about doing the Warsaw.
At Warsaw, yeah.
And but they couldn't get their shit together, and then they just forgot about me, and I'm like, fuck you guys.
Yeah, fuck you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
I wouldn't
it
do
was
it
a whole
anyway.
thing.
I did
It was a
trying
whole
to be
thing.
nice.
I was down. I thought it'd be a lot of fun.
Oh, I bet.
But yeah, it just didn't pan out. So.
But yeah, I need to stay on track here. I'm sorry. But yeah, he made his debut for WWWF.
Wow.
All-Star Wrestling. Because they had 3 W's and an F at that time. Now it's WWE.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah.
Fucking wildlife.
And then in 1971, his dad assigned him to a territory. I guess it was a real small territory in Maine, where he got to promote his first card, and he made himself the play-by-play commentator. Which, he broke him in,
Yeah.
and he did that part of the job up until the late 90s of being a commentator, and during the 80s, some people, like, for some reason I knew that he was the owner of WWF.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people didn't know that. They just thought he was some goofy looking
Right.
guy calling the matches,
Didn't he like always wear a yellow jacket or some shit like that? It was
I
like
think at that time, I think they had. That's what they wore.
Right.
80s were different, man. 70s, 80s.
A lot of bright colors.
But yeah, he became, and he kind of worked his way up, started, I think he tried to promote some concerts and some other things, that he did. It kind of became a big thing in his dad's thing. He was, I think, in the forefront of booking the Muhammad Ali versus Antonio Inoki match.
Okay.
Which was boxer versus wrestler, which I've never really dug into it. I don't know how that works. When boxing is an actual
physical,
actual real fight, and wrestling is, trust me, it is.
It's brutal.
It's brutal.
It is.
It's real. I mean, there's predetermination and stuff, ways you can do things, but yeah. So I don't know how. A boxer is going to be like, well, I don't want to fake it,
right.
Or I don't.
I'm going to punch the fucker in the face. Just be prepared.
So I don't know how it worked. If they did pay him a bunch of money, say just play along.
And what was the point about it? I mean, what was the draw?
It was just a promotion. Muhammad Ali at the time, it's like 1976 was like the biggest boxer around.
Right.
Antonio Inoki was a very big time in the professional wrestling world, was very big time prominent wrestler out of Japan.
Gotcha.
So
why not treat what you can do with it? You're bringing 2 worlds together right there.
Yeah. And that's the genius of Vince McMahon, He was a promoter. He knew how to draw.
Right.
And make money, and he pushed for to rename WWWF to WWF, World Wrestling Federation. He did that in '79.
Well, I mean, so WWWF, the 3 W stood for Worldwide Wrestling Federation.
Yeah.
Basically, he just wanted to get rid of the wide.
Yeah.
Yeah, is what it basically. So it just became a World Wrestling Federation.
Yeah, World Wrestling Federation.
So I mean, I get it. I mean, why have the wide in there? It's too much. Mm-hmm. When you can, I mean, WWF rolls right off the tongue, but if you got to go WWWF,
yeah,
it just doesn't work. And he's a streamlining guy. He's a thinker. He's always working at shit like that. Mm-hmm. Always.
Oh yeah. Now we get into 1980. He officially founded Titan Sports, which was like the mother company of WWF.
How many W's is Frankie gonna say? Hold on.
And all the other stuff that he would eventually end up, doing.
Right.
And then his wife Linda became his co-chief executive.
Right.
I guess probably had to do that.
Probably.
And then eventually, his dad was getting very sick, so he was able to purchase the whole company from his father and I guess there were partners in there that he bought out too. So and I think it was only like $1 million or something if I understood right. But
so wasn't there a controversy between him and his biological father about like Vince kind of taking over and kind of leaving his dad in the dust? And
well, kinda, it was because of what we're getting ready to get into.
Okay, all right.
Is he purchased the Wrestling Federation? I won't say W's again. In 1982, professional wrestling business, as you know, was ran regional.
Yeah,
everybody had their own area, and for years, promoters respected that. It's like, okay, this is, Bobby Golden's territory.
Right.
We don't promote there.
Right.
And and he don't promote in our area. Vince was like, nah, fuck that. He goes, I'm taking over the world.
Right.
And so he just started buying. Some tried to hold out, but
eventually,
it's like, okay,
well,
I'm not making any money because
it came down to the fact that he was stealing talent from these.
He was signing the big talent away from other, especially AWA, which was really big, ran by Vern Gagne. And, that's where he got Hogan and a shit ton of other guys, Jesse Ventura. He just started getting all the big talent from all the regionals and buying either just taking the talent or just buying the whole company outright. And
and just merging it. So
just merging it, and it just, and some, like I said, they tried to hang out, a couple of them held on for quite a while, AWA, NWA, just, there's a lot of them that did do okay, world class, but, eventually, as Vince just grew and grew, especially when he finally got the idea, and the thing with his dad, I'm sorry, I skipped over it. His dad was old school, and his dad didn't really like what he was doing then.
Right.
But he bought the company. There wasn't much he could do about it.
Right.
And before it got big like it did, his dad had passed away. So.
Yeah, looked like his dad passed away in May of 1984.
Yeah. So that was all before, because once he started getting all these big stars, Vince started doing this whole merging of, and we've talked about it before on other episodes about wrestling, the Rock and Wrestling connection, where he started getting like Cyndi Lauper and other pop stars involved, and MTV became a big part of it, and it just became this huge thing, which led into WrestleMania, which, he basically, to fund that, he had, basically the way they say it, he basically sold off everything he had that wasn't wrestling and borrowed, lied, cheated, stole, to fund it. And basically, if it would have failed, we're not having this episode right now.
Exactly.
But it succeeded. Now, the card itself, the main event was Hulk Hogan, Mr. T versus Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper.
Right.
So that was huge. That was the draw. And then, of course, you had Andre versus John Studd. Other than that, there was no other really great matches on the card. Maybe Wendy Richter versus Leilani Kai, something like that, because she was kind of big in the Rock and Wrestling. And she was, Cyndi Lauper was their manager.
Right.
But like the first handful of matches were just really bad. They were basically house show matches. So really, he put all of his money on 3 or 4 matches,
Well, I mean,
and it worked. It worked.
At the time, Mr. T was quite the celebrity.
Yeah. So, it drew interest. It put professional wrestling in everybody's living room. Everybody knew, even if you didn't watch wrestling, you knew who Hulk Hogan was,
Right.
he was starting to become a name before he even got in. Well, okay, we're not talking about Hogan, but he was in WWF at one time. Then he went to AWA, and then he did the Rocky thing, made him big.
Right.
So
yeah, it definitely helped out quite a bit there. But
now Vince Sr., he could have cared less. He didn't want Hogan back and told him, if you do this movie, you can't come back to my company, because that just wasn't his thing.
Right.
But Vince Jr. was like, well, I got it now. No, you can come back. I'm going to pay you a bunch. And that's the whole thing, Loyalty kind of went out the window for a lot of wrestlers, because they were like, okay, this guy wanted to pay me more money than I've ever seen.
Right.
So
money will get you to abandon your.
Yeah, it's like, okay, fuck it. I'm gonna go make money. That's why I'm doing this, is to make a living, and he's gonna pay me a good living to do this. So, I mean, they weren't making what these guys make now, but
right. Oh yeah.
But at the time, they were still doing okay.
Well, I mean, Vince has already dumped every dime, and I mean, this is the thing: he dumped every dime into WrestleMania, and he knew it was going to work. That's why he did it. He wasn't a shit businessman by any means.
No.
And like Frankie said, he dumped everything. He sold shit off. He lied, begged, borrowed, stole to get the money to make this happen. This wasn't fucking cheap, and especially for the 80s.
Yeah.
So, that being said, though, I mean, I don't know King Kong Bundy versus the Special Delivery Jones. SD Jones.
9 seconds.
Is that all that time? But
Yeah.
King Kong Bundy was a big name. Ricky Steamboat was a big name. Brutus Beefcake was a
But
big
who
name.
they were wrestling.
Yeah, I'm
though.
looking at the second names, and I'm like, Junkyard Dog against Greg Valentine.
Yeah.
Greg Valentine
was
wasn't,
okay.
yeah.
But at the time, nobody really knew those guys.
It's true. Once again, dumping this money into this and putting these characters in that spotlight made them who they are.
Yeah, and and then he just made it a big spectacular. He brought in celebrities that were big at the time. Liberace, the Rockettes. Which I know you're like, who?
Yeah.
But yeah, they were at the time. Yeah, Muhammad Ali, Billy Martin. Just
but to be at the same effect though, it's almost kind of B-list celebrities. It wasn't like Arnold was standing up there doing his thing.
Yeah.
Mr. T was pretty big. Or became pretty big. But
yeah.
But Liberace, who gives a shit if Liberace's there? I mean, he's a great musician and everything, but who cares?
But at the time, though.
But really?
He was kind of a big thing.
He's not going to draw wrestling fans. I mean,
well, no, but that's the thing. He wasn't trying to draw just wrestling fans.
Right.
He was trying to draw anybody and everybody.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, you see the template in which the Kansas City Chiefs and Taylor Swift have went by.
There you go. Vinnie Mac, he did that.
He had a template, which is still in use today.
Yeah, and you watch a big wrestling pay-per-view now, and there's also all these celebrities.
Right.
It ain't, back in the early days of wrestling, that it was filled with a bunch of your I guess I'll just say it in my Frankie Vegas style, a bunch of trailer park trash, wanting to beat up, the bad guy, out in the parking lot after the show.
Yep.
Now it's high-end people only ones that can afford to go to a good show now.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah, and get those good seats, down front where all the action's at. But yeah.
So so it became, after WrestleMania, it became huge.
Yeah.
And I got the hiccups. I'm so sorry. I got to take a drink.
All right.
Pause.
We're going to take a break.
But yeah, he got the rock and wrestling thing going, which, gave him a whole new fan base from the MTV people.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely did.
All that, WrestleMania, and then it blew up. Had the cartoon on Saturday mornings, which I did watch.
I did watch that also, yes.
Yes. And
I don't think I could watch it today, though. I think I watched an episode of it here recently within the last year or so, and I was this is terrible.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's something maybe we'll have to look into.
Maybe.
See if we can't find a couple episodes and talk about it. But anyway.
Is there a Halloween episode?
Yeah.
Maybe we could do a crossover with Real Terror on that one.
Yeah, there we go. Terrifying. But
just the bad act.
So, Vince, he started, once everything took off, I just, you had superstars of wrestling, on around here, late night, Saturdays, so I'd be up at, no matter what I was doing, I made sure I was home, in front of that TV at 11:30, watching wrestling, because I love wrestling. I have been a fan of wrestling since I got my first taste of it in the first grade. Went to a AWA show in Fort Wayne, Dick the Bruiser promotion. The main event was the mighty Moose Cholak versus the original Sheik. Not the Iron Sheik, but the original Sheik.
Yeah, I met both. I met both of them.
You met both of them?
I met. Yeah. Well, I didn't meet the original. Actually, I don't think I met even the Iron Sheik, but I did meet Moose Cholak years ago. And what was the? Oh God, now I'm drawing a blank. What was the other guy's name? Dick the Bruiser.
Dick the Bruiser.
Yeah, I knew Dick. I met Dick the Bruiser when I was super young. Did I ever tell you that story?
No, you haven't ever told me that one.
I was and I remember this. I was very, very young, and we were at some match somewhere. I don't remember where we were at, but I wanted to go see my dad, and we're talking 4 or 5 years old. I mean, I'm not very old, and I remember going in, and I remember Dick the Bruiser saw me walk in, and he get into his Dick the Bruiser mode, and he goes, "What are you doing in here?" Because I'm in the fucking locker room, I'm in the back with all these things, and I got my Dick the Bruiser chest out, and I'm like, "I'm here to see my dad." He goes, "Oh, he's right over there."
That's funny.
But I mean, I was super young, and I remember bits and pieces of it. I remember him standing up and being all like that. The rest has been filled in by family who were there at the same time. But I met him, and I met Moose. That guy was eccentric. Let me tell you, he was he had this when I was working with my dad in we were in Buck Lake Ranch. He did a lot of work out of Buck Lake Ranch.
Okay.
Moose was there, and of course he had this big fucking moose headdress that he had to wear out.
Yeah.
And then they had certain he had certain props that he wanted to use, and there was always a little to do with that because it was like flash powder and shit like that, and it gets a little bit screwy when you start messing with shit like that in the ring. So I remember there was a big controversy over that, and something got burnt or something like that. Somebody's eyes got fucked up or some shit. But a very eccentric person.
Yeah,
anyway.
when I saw that match, I couldn't tell you another match on the card. I just remember Moose Cholak and the Sheik.
Right on.
And they got, obviously, the Sheik got in the ring first. Moose came out, and as he stepped in the ring, Sheik hit him with an object. Some I don't know, some type of sharp object. They went outside the ring. We're on the floor. We have floor seats. I couldn't see shit.
Right.
The whole thing was on the floor. It ended up being a disqualification. Never got back in the ring.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
My little, short ass at first grade, I was like, fuck.
Yeah, it's
I remember that, and it was a cool thing, and I was hooked.
Yeah, you were done. You were in. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I watched. At that time I was watching. WWA wrestling on Channel 55 out of Fort Wayne, you know.
It'd be interesting to go back and see some of those original episodes to see the names and see who actually went on from some of these small local areas.
Because it's weird because, like, well, Scott Steiner started there.
Okay.
You know, from the Steiner brothers. Now, I've worked, there was a wrestler that wrestled, and he's Dick the Bruiser's son-in-law, and he went by the Golden Lion back in those days.
Okay.
And I've worked with him several times now.
Really?
You know, his old ass, he go by Dick the Bruiser Jr. now.
Right.
And, so I've gotten to work with him several times. Pretty cool dude, you know.
Yeah. Listen, a lot of those guys that even come out and come back down, you know, after being up in the WWF or the WWE, who come back down to the smaller ranks. Yeah. I mean, let's face it, it's a lot like football, man. You go hot for so long, and then the storyline fades out and people forget, and you kind of break back down. But you're still a big enough name to draw attention at a smaller venue. And I'm trying to remember. I can't remember if I met Dick the Bruiser Jr. I know that I was thinking we worked some shows back, at one point with him, but Bobo Brazil and Bobo Brazil Jr. I did work with both of them at one. I didn't work. I just knew
Bobo
them.
Brazil Jr. He back in the day, was actually Bobo's real life son, and he was Calypso Jim back in the WWA days.
Right on.
So.
Anyways, let's get back to Vinnie Mac. Let's finish up our Vinnie Mac story.
We're just reminiscing about.
We are.
But so he got big and he started, everybody started talking about WrestleMania 2, which then WrestleMania 2 happened. I just thought, well, he just fucking killed it.
Right.
That was fucking terrible.
Yeah, because the number 2 didn't really draw. It wasn't until 3 that became a big one, right?
3 became huge.
Yeah.
But it just, he tried this whole idea of having it in 3 different places, New York, Chicago, and L.A. And
right on.
I just
too much.
Thought the concept was kind of bad.
Yeah.
Main event was in L.A. It was King Kong Bundy versus Hulk Hogan cage match. It was a fine match, but I just thought the way they did the card just wasn't. I didn't like it.
Well, I mean, you're tripling your ticket sales.
Yes.
Which is what he was after, but to split up and put Hogan here and Piper here, or I don't even remember what all matches were.
Yeah, it was.
I was
crazy.
hoping to see.
But he but he also had the closed circuit, and he started the whole pay-per-view thing. So not only was he selling out the arenas, he was selling out other places that were carrying it on closed circuit.
Right.
So he's making a killing.
Yeah.
I mean, he still made a killing on it. I thought maybe after that people aren't gonna like the big cards anymore like that.
Right.
But he made it work, and he started doing other, big pay-per-view cards like SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, my personal favorite, Royal Rumble. Now it's to the point to where there's one every month.
Right. Yeah, they worked it out. So
but at the time, there was like 4 big ones, you know.
Yeah, you worked up to it. You worked up to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It was a thing. Everybody wanted to be on the WrestleMania stage, and that's the brilliance of what he's. I mean, to be honest, that's the brilliance of what he's done.
But now, and you would have a long storyline to build up to one of these pay-per-views, but now they have one every month, and you've got to sit there. Only got a few weeks to actually build up and sell this story, so
it doesn't necessarily work, because now you're running into what you run into with some of the local shows and stuff like that. You have these certain draws that you put in the main event, and then you get these same main events every fucking month, and it's like, I can't imagine that it would really be that exciting.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find fucking WrestleMania 2 to find out what the big draws were. So I'm
I think in New York, the big match was Roddy Piper and Mr. T in a boxing match, I think.
Really?
Chicago, I know they had a tag team title match and the big battle royal with NFL players and wrestlers.
So the Rosemont Horizon, is that the Chicago? Is that Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at this. The main event was the British Bulldogs with Captain Lou Albano and Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
And they played against, or they defeated the Dream Team in Brutus Beefcake and Greg Valentine. But I just saw Ozzy's name pop up. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
And then I can't remember which WrestleMania it was or which event it was, but Alice Cooper was in Jake the Snake Roberts' corner one year or something.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because of, the snake. Alice Cooper always walked around with a fucking snake.
And that is the genius of Vince McMahon.
It is.
Ozzy, okay. Now you got Ozzy fan, jumping in to
Right.
say, oh, fuck, Ozzy's going to be wrestling. I got to watch that,
You said Ozzy's going to be there. Fuck yeah, man.
But yeah. And then then WrestleMania 3 came along, and it was just freaking huge.
Yeah.
That was the whole Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant.
Yeah, and that was the match that just was.
Yeah, and at the time, they reportedly had like 93,000+ people in the Pontiac Silverdome.
Right on.
Silverdome.
Silverdome.
And yeah, it was just that, kind of. It's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of set the standard for WrestleMania.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean.
Because it was just, at that time, it was probably the first card to where every match was built up. Vince built every match up, to mean something. It just wasn't just a filler match,
right. And get some jobbers in there.
Yeah, it was all, superstar versus superstar, and they had a feud going. It was played out on TV,
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, and that kind of started after that. That was just the 80s, just big cards, the Saturday night main events, which were always the big thing. They were like once a month, they would take the place of Saturday Night Live on NBC.
Right.
So that was always like a big build up, and
listen, Vince McMahon, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, or Vinnie Mac, whatever you want to call him, was a brilliant mind when it came to setting this up to be a big deal. And like I said, what we said earlier, he put a lot into it. He put everything on the line. He dropped it all. It's a make or break kind of thing.
yes,
And here we go. Look at it. Look at how it turned out. It's probably still one of the biggest things in the world, and everybody watches it. And it's so funny when they do these Monday Night Raws, which is now a thing. You have WWE Raw. You have WWE. What is Thursday? SmackDown. Yeah, they have one on Friday night too, don't they?
They have SmackDown on Friday. Like Tuesday is NXT.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's like the three major shows. Then they, like I said, about every month they have gets a premium live event of what it's called now, because they don't do pay-per-view. I mean, you just pay for whatever the streaming. Right now it's ESPN.
Is that where it's at now, is ESPN?
Yeah. And then, Netflix and got Raw.
Okay.
USA.
I haven't watched it in forever because all my faves are gone.
Yeah.
You know, Al Snow, you know, The Rock, you know, all those guys. Back when The Rock was still not a superstar, you know, not a big movie star and shit like that. But, you know, back when he was doing that, it was a lot of fun. You know, a couple of them even passed away since then, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, give me Edge. Well, Test is gone now, too, right? I mean, he passed away, right? The guy that played Test.
Yeah.
Test. You know, those were my favorites, so I haven't watched it in years.
Yeah.
The point I was making is that there are still shows 3 times a week that are regular TV shows, and they're always in arenas, you know, coliseums, stuff like that, and they're always packed to the hilt. There is not an empty seat in these places, and the forethought of Vince McMahon is proven to be a winning combination. You know, he mixed the flour, sugar, and water into this thing, stirred the living fuck out of it, and made a very delicious cake.
Yeah, and you know, it worked, and you know, like I said, you know, the 80s were just, I mean, there was always a few things, you know, people started talking about the steroid scandal, and you know, this and that. But a lot of the good stuff didn't start, you know, that we could actually go in depth on and talk about. Didn't really happen until mid-90s on, you know, the whole WCW almost taking out WWE.
Right.
You know, the name change thing, you know, to WWE.
Right.
Because World Wildlife Federation had it trademarked or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, these are all stuff, you know, the good stuff like that. So, excuse me, I would definitely recommend going and watching Mr. McMahon. I think it's on Netflix.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, go watch that. I mean,
it was actually a very good series.
It was.
Through all of it.
You can only the Vince stuff where because he actually participated until some other stuff happened. And
right.
Like the last couple episodes, he was gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all that good stuff. Watch that because we really can't get into all the good stuff like that. I mean, what we're talking the 80s, he made wrestling what it was.
Yep.
After that, you know, when it kind of became more out that he ran WWF, and, you know, you found out the whole steroid thing. You know, he cheated on his wife all the time. You know, blah, blah, blah. And all this going into the 90s and
beyond.
And that, you know, that's definitely worth checking out. But in the 80s, though, Vince was a golden child. He just done everything.
Everything
he touched turned to gold.
Yep.
Now, did your dad have an opinion on Vince McMahon?
We never talked about it.
Yeah.
We never talked about it.
I didn't know if you ever overheard him talking with the boys in the back.
No. If he did, I missed it.
Yeah.
Probably because at that time it was, you know, we're talking early 80s, and you know, this was all still actually coming to fruition at that point. It wasn't as big as, you know, what it was, but it was Captain Lou that my dad talked to me about a little bit, and the fact that Hogan was coming in at that point when my dad was leaving to come back, and you know, he met him I think once or twice back in those days, but I can't be for sure. You know, I don't know if he was here today, we'd drag his ass in here and make him tell us, but goddamn, it's hard to believe he's been gone for so long.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, I would love to sit down now. I'd love to sit down with your dad and just chew his ear about wrestling.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he had a lot of stories, that's for sure, because he did a lot of things in the late 70s and the early 80s. Yeah. And I mean, he wrestled right up till he died in 91. I mean, it was like, I think it was 2 weeks before he was diagnosed that he still had a match, that he was still wrestling. So,
yeah, I remember you telling me that.
It's pretty crazy to think that he did it all the way through. And I think that's where I do what I do, you know, is between the music and the pods and the radios and and all this shit. You know, this is what I love, but I get that kind of that on-stage persona from him, you know.
Yeah.
As much as I love my mom, she wasn't an on-stage persona. She, you know, she wouldn't be the one to go grab a guitar and fucking go play a song or something like that, you know.
No, she would just design your background.
Yeah, exactly. At 100%. And she has designed backgrounds for me in the past, so.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm sorry that this story didn't go as smooth as I wanted it to because I didn't have my notes. So I'm having to scroll through Wikipedia to try to get.
We're going to make him redo it again in 6 months.
Yeah, I might have to do that. But yeah. Remember to take my notebook home with me.
Yeah, don't forget that. Don't forget that notebook.
Yeah.
You're going to need it for next time.
But yeah, Vince McMahon, he was a genius. A lot of people hated him, but a lot of people loved him.
It's true.
You know?
A lot of people would die on that hill with him, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he just, you know, a lot of people didn't like what he was doing, like other promoters. But they also probably made a killing when he bought him out, you know.
Oh, I'm sure. But you got to remember, that's part of getting to the success that Vince McMahon has gotten to, is you've got to piss off people, you got to step on toes, and you've got to fucking be a dick. And that's what he did. He went in, no holds barred, hint, hint, wink, wink, and made things happen. And he didn't give a fuck who he stepped on to get to where he wanted to go.
Yeah.
And that's what makes a good businessman. Makes for a piece of shit human being, but it makes a good businessman a successful one. And that's what he did.
I mean, you know, nowadays, you know, like I said, he doesn't have anything to do with WWE anymore, you know.
Right.
Because, you know, he sold it to, you know, Endeavor or whatever it's called now.
Right on.
TKO. I don't know what the hell it's called.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you.
It's with UFC and whoever owns UFC.
Gotcha.
You know, they all combine now, and it's a big thing. But he made it that.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, he did. Yeah. You know, they wouldn't have put that much money into it to buy it had Vince not made it the juggernaut.
Right. Absolutely.
Now, granted, you know, just like any business, it had its ups and downs, you know, at times to where things faltered a little bit, and then.
Listen,
but that's wrestling, though.
We've talked about this many a times. You know, my father always told me that that wrestling was a 14-year swap. So for 7 years, it would go down, and you'd be at the bottom. You know, it was not as popular. It was da-da-da. And then in 7 years, it would be right back on top, and it would be one of the most popular things. Yeah. And it was a 14-year roller coaster, and that's how the wrestling business worked.
Yeah.
And if you can plug and play that into other things too, you know, country music is the same way. Yeah. I don't know what the slide is as far as years on it, but at some point, country music is the biggest thing going on. And then it's the least bit, but at the same time, something else is taking it. You know, maybe it's fucking what is the fucking BK kids or whatever they are that, you know, that genre of music is hot, and then it dies down, and rock and heavy metal's now, you know, up there, and it's just a roller coaster, and wrestling's the same way. It has its 14-year peak. Every 14 years, it's back on top, and it's one of the biggest things that everybody's talking about around the water cooler or on the internet. And then in 7 years, you can't find an article to fucking save your life on it.
Yeah, and a lot of times, you know, and Vince was good when he could get it back on top of finding a wrestler that people gravitate to, whether it was Hulk Hogan,
right?
Or then it was like the Stone Cold, The Rock, you know, Undertaker.
Absolutely.
You know, and people just drew into those. They're like, oh yeah, you know.
Now it's and then it was John Cena, and now it's Cena. What is it, Cody Banks or whatever his name is, Cody something.
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes.
Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, Roman didn't stay on top very long though. Do you hear much about Roman anymore?
Yeah, he's the champ.
Oh, well, there you go. See what fuck I know. Boom. There for a while, you just heard about him all the time. So
yeah.
All right, Frankie.
All right.
It was kind of a Vince McMahon show.
Yeah, like I said, I'm sorry. I mean,
We got sidetracked is what I'm getting
well, and I dropped the ball with my notes. And
that's all right. I'll field all the emails, and I'll pass them on to Frankie.
Please do.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, please. But yeah, go check out Mr. McMahon on Netflix.
Right.
It's
a good thing. It's what is it, like 7, 8 episodes or something like that?
How he becomes a wrestler. And
7 or 8 episodes?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Until next week, when we're going to be back with something. We're going to do something. I think that's all I got. Yeah.
That's all I got.
Go check out the website, goldenmojoent.com. Check out Audible. Go look for It Bit Me, narrated by the United States Paranormal. And of course, I don't know. You know all of our stuff. It's going to be right after this. It's going to be in the promo in the end.
Yeah, there we go.
So hasta la vista, baby.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Golden 80s podcast. Check us out at goldenmojoent.com, where you can find out about our great merchandise and a little bit about Frankie and Golden J. Also, at goldenmojoent.com, you can find out about all the other podcasts in the Golden Mojo Entertainment network of podcasts, like
the United States of Paranormal, Indiana Chiefs fans, the Gridiron Kingz, MurdNerds, the Nostalgia Tug, Real Terror, and the Puck Yeah Podcast. But you can still find Golden Image Podcast, A Quart of Books and Booze, and The Call Guys wherever you stream your favorite podcast. And if you have a story that you would like us to cover, just let us know at thegoldenimage80s@gmail.com. Please like, rate, and subscribe wherever you listen.